Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Today, guys, you're gonna learn more about yogurt, specifically about Skyr, this Icelandic style kind of yogurt, but also you're gonna learn more about yogurt in general. We're gonna talk with Jenna Amos, a registered dietitian and nutritionist for Siggi's brand. It's one of the best health-conscious brands of yogurt out there. Their core product is actually Icelandic style yogurt, and you're gonna learn what that is and how it's different from any other kinds of yogurt in this podcast. You're also going to learn, guys, what to look for when it comes to health, to gut health on the ingredient lists of yogurt products and yogurt-like products. You're going to learn how to find yogurt that is actually gut healthy, that is good for you. You're going to also learn what to avoid on the ingredient list and just how to read ingredient lists to make the best for your health, for your gut health, but also for taste and flavor choice when it comes to yogurts. You're also going to learn, how yogurt is made and what fun additions you can add to your yogurt experience to make it more adventurous and rich. All of that you're going to learn today. But guys, the main purpose of this podcast was to help you to make better choices and be less confused when you go shopping for your yogurt. If you're someone who likes yogurt and you can love your dairy yogurt, or you can love your plant-based yogurt, or sometimes maybe you like, to experiment, try this or that, or mix them. And the reason I wanted to talk with somebody from the team of Siggi's brand is because they really stand out when it comes to quality and eating experience, quality of the ingredients, and also they are really concerned, or they really care about consumers' health and well-being and creating good quality product, putting it out there. I'm not affiliated, I don't work with them, I just a fan of good brands that deliver good quality foods. So without further ado, guys, tune in to our yogurt rich and gut healthy conversation with Jenna Amos, registered dietitian nutritionist for Siggi's brand. So Jenna, thank you very much for joining me for the episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Very happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Jenna, you are a registered dietitian nutritionist working for Siggi's brand, and you probably know the most about all the details of how the Siggi's foods are made, and how you choose your ingredients, and all these details that a lot of consumers are interested in these days. So could you tell our listeners, please, a little bit more about Siggi's brand and what do you guys make, how you make it, and a little bit of, maybe start with a little bit of backstory, how it all started.
Yeah, of course. So like you mentioned, I am a registered dietitian for the brand, and I work on nutrition communications. And when I first started working for the brand, it really stood out for me because it aligned with my values as a dietitian. So just delicious, simple food that was, very nutritious. And I think we really stand out there. So we are an Icelandic style yogurt. It's called Skyr. So we're a little bit thicker, higher in protein than a traditional Greek yogurt. And we were founded by Siggi. He came from Iceland for business school, and really wasn't fond of the yogurts that he was finding in the grocery stores at the time. They were very sweet, in these kind of funky flavors that make sense for yogurt, and just contained so much sugar. So he started making yogurt in his New York City apartment in about 2004. And in 2006, he started selling yogurt. So he started selling in local farmers markets here in New York City, eventually at a Murray's cheese shop, and really scaled the business from there. But the entire time he made sure to really stick to the values that were important to him as well, and really thought back to what he ate growing up in Iceland, which was this thick, creamy, high protein yogurt.
And so how is the Skyr different exactly from regular yogurt? Like, is that the consistency or a little bit different nutritional profile?
Yeah, so both. We strain our yogurt more than traditional yogurt, so more that liquid is coming off of it, resulting in a much thicker, creamier product. But it also condenses down the protein, so you're going to be getting more protein per serving than a traditional American yogurt or a Greek yogurt.
And is it the same, guys? Like when you buy a regular yogurt, maybe Greek yogurt, the bacteria that you use to make the Skyr, like, are they the same? Are they different?
Yeah, so it is still a milk-based product, just like other yogurts on the market. So in that sense, the ingredients are similar, but so our plain yogurt is just our milk and our cultures, and we have a great variety of cultures in our yogurt, and the cultures really add to the flavor too and the creaminess of our yogurt. And then with our flavored yogurts, we're adding really simple ingredients in to again keep that yogurt just very simple. So we're not adding anything artificial in. We're not adding thickeners, alternative sweeteners. Our yogurts are flavored with just real fruit and a tiny bit of sugar.
Yeah, and I noticed that you even have like sugar-free option with just berries or other flavors, right?
Yeah, so it's a no added sugar line. So in any yogurt, there's always going to be sugar from the milk. So it's intrinsic to the milk. So a sugar-free yogurt doesn't really exist.
Yeah, but added sugars.
Sugar.
Yeah,
so there's no added sugars in our no added sugar product. It's flavored and sweetened just with the real fruit and some spices.
Yeah, cool. I think a lot of people now who are trying to reduce their sugar content will be really happy, that variety. I'm also curious about, like, I see a lot of yogurt-like products on the shelves of the supermarket. And, before I used to think that all of these things, they are used with, live active cultures, but as I learned, it's not the case, right? And I noticed that on your products, you specifically mentioned that it has live active cultures.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So all of our yogurts and even our plant-based blends are going to contain live active cultures, and those are those really good cultures for gut health. And something important to look for in yogurt. So, one of the benefits of consuming yogurt are those live active cultures and probiotics. So you always want to look for that call out. And that's the dietitian in me, always making sure to look for that. And as a brand, we make sure to, have live active cultures or probiotics in our products.
Yeah, that's, I think the whole idea of healthy label on the yogurt, right? That it helps us to improve our gut health and maintain good gut health.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if there are no live active cultures, then what's the point? It's just another dairy, product, as I understand it. But I always also had this question about plant-based yogurts. Are they different? Are they the same? What are the maybe health differences between dairy yogurts and plant-based yogurts?
Yeah, sure. And this is a great question. I think right now we're in an environment where people are really, focused in on, potentially more plant-based diets or like a flexitarian diet, where they want to include some more plant-based products, but still consume traditional dairy and meat products too. The plant-based thing is tricky because there's no real definition for what plant-based is, so it kind of varies from person to person. But at Siggi's we definitely saw the shift in the dairy and yogurt space where people wanted more of a plant-based option. So when we were looking into this, we really wanted to make sure that we stuck to our values of simple ingredients, not a lot of sugar, and just a really delicious product. And we didn't want to rush into the market with something that didn't meet that. So when looking at these alternatives, you just always want to make sure that they meet the needs that a yogurt was meeting. So someone may choose a regular dairy yogurt because it's high in protein and offers those live active cultures. And I think a downfall of a lot of products on the market is that they're very, very low in protein because the ingredients being used to make them, maybe like an almond milk or something, are just intrinsically low in protein. And so with our plant-based blends, we have more protein than sugar in every cup, and it's a really delicious product. We have 10 grams of protein in our plant-based blends. And we have live active cultures and simple ingredients. And it still has that thick, creamy texture that people come to expect from anything with the Siggi's name on it. So we really did put a lot of time and effort to really formulating what we think is, a best-in-class product for those individuals who can't eat dairy or maybe want to have more of that flexitarian diet.
I noticed, I think you use pea protein, right? In your
Yes.
plant-based options. Any specific reason why you use that over some other alternative plant-based protein?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the formulation and what tastes good.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, we, we're kind of at this as a team for a while. And we have some amazing people on the Siggi side who really focused on creating the best formulation because we didn't want to put something out there with the Siggi's name on it unless it was, so delicious. And we would eat it alongside our classic dairy yogurt. So, we're a dairy brand at heart, and we wanted to make sure that we had something really delicious.
Yeah, and I think you succeeded, at least from my, from my taste. I also, always wanted to learn a little bit more about yogurt making process because I never really tried making it myself. Like I read about it, but can you tell us a little bit more about like the process of yogurt making? And also, is it different for plant-based options and for dairy-based options?
Sure. So I can't speak too much to the actual process of either one. I'm not very involved with that. But in general, yogurt is a very simple product to be made. And that, I think, comes through in our products as well. And I think also why Siggi, when he came to the US and saw these, very complicated, long ingredient list yogurts on the store shelves, it just didn't make sense to him. Because, just yogurt, just plain yogurt, it's just milk and live active cultures. And that's it. And that's what you'll find on our plain products is just the milk and the cultures. And the cultures are, a type of bacteria that when you add them to the milk, begin to ferment the milk and create that thick, tangy taste and texture that people, expect with yogurt.
We talked about, your main product, Skyr. Do you guys make any other products at the moment? Like, I don't know, made differently or different kinds of yogurts or product lines?
Yep, so that Skyr is our core product, available in a wide variety of fat percentages too. So 0, 2%, and our whole milk, which is our 4% product. And we actually go up to a 9% as well. So a really, decadent yogurt, but very low in sugar still. And then we have our plant-based blends, which are our newest innovation, which you mentioned. that came to market this year. And we have drinks available as well. So they're just a yogurt drink in a whole milk and a 0% variety. Really good for an on-the-go option, but also they're packed with probiotics. So we make that probiotic claim on our drinks, really great for gut health. And again, they're not super sweet either. They still have those simple ingredients and not a lot of sugar, characteristic to them.
Mm-hmm. What's your personal favorite product or flavor?
Yeah, great question. I think it, kind of varies by the week. We have such a wide variety of flavors and varieties that, you can't ever really get bored. But I have to say, I like the classic 0% raspberry. I think it's so delicious.
Yeah, I mean, raspberry, I think also my favorite flavor. Like, I love raspberries in general.
Yeah.
What do you love making with that? Like, how do you usually eat it? Because, sometimes people want to just have yogurt, but sometimes they want to make it a little bit more, filling and maybe adding something chewy into that, like, or crunchy.
Yeah. So we always love seeing what people do with our yogurt. We have a lot of people very passionate about Siggi's, which is, something I haven't seen in a lot of other brands. People are excited to eat Siggi's and share what they're doing with it. So I get a lot of my inspiration for how I eat it from social media too, and what our consumers are posting and tagging us in. So one of my go-tos is adding nut butters to our yogurt. It just makes it even creamier, and it's such like a good balance, like tangy fruit flavor of the yogurt, and some almond butter or peanut butter, and then some fresh fruit too. But usually the nut butters. That's my go-to for adding to the yogurt.
And I think you have the flavors with nut butters, right? Almond butter.
Yeah. And we really looked again at what our consumers were doing, and we saw so many of them adding nut butter to their yogurt. And at least for me, that wasn't something I ever really thought about doing. But it did look delicious. So we do have a Siggi's product with a no added sugar almond butter on the side. So you just kind of tip it in, and it's a really smooth, creamy almond butter for the top of the yogurt.
Cool. Also, as a registered dietitian nutritionist, you probably know all the nutritional specs of your yogurts, and that probably I think would be a great thing for people to learn. Like, what are some nutritional aspects of yogurts, like how many calories it has, or grams of sugars, protein, calcium, or maybe something else?
Yeah. So anything from the dairy group, a big benefit of it is protein. And all of our yogurts have a high level of protein in them from that straining process. It depends on, the cup size that you're picking up, or if it's, a tub, but our yogurts contain up to 15 grams of protein in a single serve cup, which is great. And all of our dairy yogurts are always, no matter what, going to have more protein than sugar in them in our core line of 0, 2, and 4% yogurts. And then we're not adding any alternative sweeteners either. So, I speak a lot with registered dietitians in my role, and they look at the front of the product, but then they'll very quickly turn it over to see what's actually in it. So even with our no added sugar product you were mentioning, a lot of questions I would get is like, oh, well, are you adding stevia? Are you adding, sucralose? What are you adding to it? Like nothing. We just keep it very simple. But even with our traditional yogurts, we keep that sugar really low by just not adding a lot of sugar, and keeping the ingredient list as simple and clean as possible. So I think that's a big benefit of it. But, the more protein than sugar is always important too. And then, like you mentioned, those live active cultures and probiotics are really something to look for in yogurts as well.
And what about plant-based options? Is the amount of protein the same, or is it different?
Yeah, so in our plant-based cuts, The protein is a little bit lower, but at 10 grams versus 15 grams in the same size cup of our dairy yogurt. It's still more than most plant-based yogurts on the market, but the most important thing, it has more protein than sugar without any of those alternative, artificial, non-nutritive sweeteners.
And there was calcium. A lot of people are asking me about calcium when it comes to different yogurt-like products, dairy or plant-based. Do you have any information, nutritional information about your product specifically?
Yeah, so all of our dairy yogurts contain calcium because it's intrinsic to the milk. So all of those will have calcium in them.
And as I understand, in your plant-based options, you wouldn't have much, right? Because you don't add any vitamins or minerals into them.
Right. Yep. So we're not fortifying our plant-based options, and our ingredients don't intrinsically contain calcium. So sticking to that simple ingredients, we're not adding calcium into our plant-based.
Yeah, because, a lot of people I work with, or whenever I get questions about nutrition, people somehow think because a lot of products are fortified, like plant-based products, that almonds have a lot of calcium or like coconuts have calcium. But they actually don't unless you add it to them. I personally, I love simple ingredient list, and I think it doesn't matter whether that, plant-based or animal-based product, you should have simple ingredients. It's always better, from my perspective, for our digestive health and overall health. So, whenever I see a product like this that keeps it really simple and trying to maximize the health benefits of original product, that's always, I'm happy to see that. That's why, I wanted to talk to you guys and ask, how your product is made and why it's made this way and how did you, come up with the idea. And also, just a lot of people are also confused about different products on the market. And, Skyr is quite different. It's quite new. And so a lot of people just don't always know, what's the difference, what's this new thing.
Yeah, I agree. My background, I was a retail dietitian for a good amount of time before joining Siggi's. And I think the yogurt aisle is one of the most confusing aisles in the grocery store. It's just you're faced with a wall of products that, all kind of look similar. And unless you have the time to, stand there and really look at the back of pack on every yogurt, I think it can get, very confusing for a consumer. And it was something I loved about retail was that, I could help educate those consumers. And it's really where I found Siggi's too. Because it stood out because of our, short ingredient list and the great nutritionals on it. So yeah, I agree there that it's a confusing space.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of this podcast series, to give people a little bit more information. So next time they're, in the yogurt aisle, they know a little bit better what to choose for more health and better ingredients. Thank you, Jenna, for joining me again for the podcast and helping our listeners to learn more about yogurts and Skyr and what to look for in good quality yogurts, healthier alternatives.
Yeah, of course. It was my pleasure. This is great.
Thanks a lot. And by the way, where can our listeners look for your products and maybe learn more about your products, follow you on social media?
Sure. So you can go to our website, siggis.com, and our Instagram is @siggisdairy. You can get, like I mentioned, a lot of great snack and recipe info on our Instagram. And our website has all of our products listed there. I think people are always surprised when they see the breadth of our product line, because what may be available in their grocery store is, a smaller amount of those. And you can find out more information about our health and wellness program that we have for dietitians on there, because we really want to support dietitians in the field, because they're the ones doing the educating on foods. And then you could find our store locator on there too. So we are a national brand. We're available in every major retailer across the country. But if you want to see which stores in your area have specific products, check out our store locator on our website. It's a really helpful tool for that.
Cool. Thank you for sharing this. I'm going to link everything in the show notes so our listeners can find you easier.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.